It's a great day. My name is Che Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country where we are on a mission. And our mission really is to empower, our mission is to inspire, and our mission really is to provide you, that's right, you, the hard-working entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have the one and only Schellie Fanfan. She's in the building, and she's talking about iron sharpens iron, healing transformations for men. This should be interesting. What's going on, Schellie? How are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for being on the show. And thank you as well to all of you for allowing us to stream into your homes during these very remarkable times, because without you, we don't have a show. So it's an honor and a privilege to serve you. Schellie, before we get into your background and people know how famous you are and what your cool bio says and all that stuff, they're seeing healing, transformations for men. Take a moment, because healing means different things to different people. So what is your definition of healing? And what does that look like?
Oh, wow. Well, like you said, healing means different things to different people. I am an expert in emotional healing. And so when I am speaking about healing, I am talking about a process that somebody commits themselves to. For some people, that process is long term. Sometimes that process may be for the rest of a person's life, depending on how deep their emotional injuries are. So it is a process that a person commits themselves to learn the tools necessary to maximize their functionality, to ensure that they are addressing the barriers to them operating in their capacity. And most of the time, those barriers are emotional injuries. Emotional injuries we don't even realize we have, emotional injuries that we know we have, but don't necessarily want to deal with it. Whether it's emotional injuries that we are aware of, emotional injuries that we are not aware of, oftentimes people normalize their abnormalities and move on in life without taking the time to heal from those emotional injuries. And so healing is that commitment, taking the time to address the pain, root cause of the pain, and to find ways to move forward despite those injuries.
Well said. And I'm sure I'm the only one who has this question. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, we'll get into her background, but I know it's going to sound silly, and I don't want to be undersensitive here, but why are people struggling these days to bounce back from something that may have taken place in the past? I mean, it seems to me they can go to Instagram and instantly get motivated, inspired. They could turn on YouTube, I don't know, University, and watch a video or two and maybe, just follow some instructions and things go away. Or many of them are adults. I mean, so they've had this many, many years to work on it. So the question I have is, why do folks struggle with just healing and moving forward based on something that happened in the past?
There's many different reasons. The first thing that pops up for me is just a lack of awareness. There are many people that do not realize that their ailments are actually abnormalities that they need to heal from. And so some of the things that we often normalize, not getting or not having the capacity to get 8 hours of uninterrupted rest, commitment issues, concentration and focus issues, having extreme agitation, irritation. And there are so many things and ailments that we deal with, and we just push through, right? We just normalize them. This is just how it is for me. I wake up angry. You're waking up angry. There's a huge issue there. People who joke about having OCD, I'm always cleaning, or people who are, just don't get along with other people and prefer to be alone and live very isolated lives and normalizing that. And so the first thing is not having the awareness that something is wrong, or not having the awareness that you can heal from that. You can heal from that divorce. You can heal from that miscarriage. You can heal from the molestation and rape. But not having that awareness, it causes us to continue to push through. We have the nerve to call it resilience, and we don't stop and get healed. Then we have our social media culture, where everyone is posting themselves and they are able to position the phone in the right angle. They are able to use that frame or that filter to make them look amazing. And you have broken couples, broken marriages, wounded marriages, and they're posting like they're happy and hashtagging couples goals. And it causes people to feel like my pain, my anger, my life does not look like that. So there's something wrong with me. And when you feel like there's something wrong with you because everybody paints this picture like they're so perfect and so happy, it causes people to shrink back and not become vulnerable enough to tell people, I'm not good. I'm not well, and I'm not happy, and I have all this property that I own, and I prefer to not live. I don't sleep at night, and I don't love myself. No one really takes the time to be that vulnerable with other people. And truth be told, Shay, a lot of people don't even show that they have enough time or care for others. There is a study that shows, and I don't know how it goes, but just imagine. I'm going to paraphrase it a little bit, Shay, but I want you to just imagine this. There are like about 50 people, and among those 50 people, there are like five people who are like actors, and they're just walking around this room, and people are you just go through the particulars, like the things that we are trained to do. How are you, sir? How are you, ma'am? But these characters, right? These actors are answering the question saying, "Oh, I'm suicidal. How are you?" And guess what happens? The conversation just continues. So it kind of looks like this. Hey, Shay, how are you? And Shay says, Oh, I'm suicidal. How are you? I'm doing good. Life is good. Kids are good. People are not even listening, Shay.
Hmm.
People are not even listening. We can't even be present in moments. We have people, you may be at a wedding and you're thinking about what you're going to do when you get home. You're at dinner, you're on your cell phone. We don't even allow ourselves to be present in our moments. Not even in our own happy moments. Nonetheless, in our pain. We don't sit in our pain. We don't check in with our emotions. We don't check in with ourselves. That is why people are struggling so much. Long answer to that short question.
No, no, it was spot on. Not a long-winded answer. It was exactly what we need to hear. And I know we'll get into iron sharpens iron, and we'll get into a time to heal. And we'll get into her background. I know y'all are curious. I mean, I've got to be curious. She says healing transformations for men. Again, I don't want to act like I'm on a therapy couch right now, but I am curious. Men transformations for healing versus women's transformations for healing. Is there a difference? And if so, again, I don't want to put you on the spot. What is the subtle difference? Because it sounds like you're focusing on men when you talk about healing transformations for men. So I'm just curious. Here's the question for
Right.
those that have it in their mind as well: is there a difference between men and female and transformations and healing? And if so, what have you experienced?
I don't think there's necessarily a difference. There may be the differences in healing are human differences. We all are unique in the way that we process our thoughts and our emotions and how we show up. And so the healing process is very unique to each individual. I do feel that there may be circumstances and presentations of symptoms that show up differently in women versus men. So it may be the same symptoms, or it may be depression for a woman, it may be depression for a man, and that depression may show up a little bit different in women than it does men. And so the healing process may be similar, the symptomology may be similar, but the presentation of those symptoms may be different. The reason why Teach Me How to Heal is focusing on men's mental health is because we often hear about the women's retreat, the women's healing retreat, the women's conference. We hear it all the time. The master classes for the women, kicking fear for women. We don't necessarily see that happen often for men. And so, Teach Me How to Heal is a movement. It's a series of conferences and retreats that specifically teach attendees the secret sauce to healing. We are focusing on men because men represent a population of individuals that are severely underserved. They are underserved for many different reasons. The primary one is men don't necessarily seek the help that they need for their emotional issues. And so iron sharpens iron is creating that safe space where men can come. And the beautiful thing about it, Shay, it doesn't matter where they land on the functionality spectrum, whether they are super happy and feeling great about life and just living, just that happy and joyful life versus struggling a little bit with their emotions, struggling with some situations, all the way to someone who is feeling like they want to take their lives. It doesn't matter where you fall on that spectrum. The conference is for you. The conference is for them. It addresses all different forms of emotional instability, emotional stability, and all different ways that men may often struggle without even realizing that they are.
We we're going to get to the background, ladies and gentlemen. I know some of you already read her bio. Some of you are Googling her right now. And some of you are curious. Iron Sharpens Iron, Healing Transformations for Men is a conference that's taking place. And we'll tell them how to go to the site in a moment. But I do have one question. You could spend your time and energy doing a lot of things. Why is this Iron Sharpens Iron, a time to heal for men conference so important to you right now?
So I've been practicing now I always got to count this. So I'm going on 26 years, 26 years since I have been practicing. I'm a licensed psychotherapist, and I know we're going to get to that. And so I get to work with individuals and helping them to overcome emotional injury. My career started in New York. I was overseeing a very large homeless shelter with lots of trauma and addiction. And that's where my career started. And so I had the opportunity and I got to work with individuals who were severely injured and wounded, who often died of many different ailments, whether it was taking their own lives, died accidentally by drug overdoses, et cetera, et cetera. And so, dealing with the severe and persistently mentally ill, I saw a pattern, and I've been seeing the pattern for many, many years. And that is the way that men suppress their emotional injury. Some of them suppress it so much that they don't even realize that it's there. Men that feel like, well, I am raising my family and I am doing well and I'm functioning and I don't even remember half the stuff that hurt me. But the issue is that we can still emotionally react to memories that we don't have any connection to. And so, all throughout the years that I've been practicing, I have seen this pattern. And sometimes the men are not there because they're getting the help. They end up in my office because they're supporting their children, or they are supporting their spouses, or they're in my space because they're in for marriage counseling. And over and over again, men coming in having not for years, some men have never had the opportunity to do the healing work, the inner child work, to deal with not having dad around, having to be a parent now, although you weren't parented, moving forward in life, not knowing what nurturing even sounds or looks like. Men who feel like, yes, my baby, I lost my virginity to my babysitter. No, you were molested. You didn't lose your virginity to your babysitter, sir. You were molested. And so I see it time and time again, that suppression, that ignorance, and not knowing just how injured that they truly are. And there really isn't a lot of safe spaces, Shay, for men to be that vulnerable because they are told, man up. I heard a celebrity say the other day, men, if you're hurting, go cry to a tree. And the video went viral, Shay. Go cry to a tree. If you break your arm, cry for 2 minutes and man up. I won't mention his name. However, this is the society that we live in, where it's super taboo for a man to say, I'm not okay. it's not so okay to cry or to allow yourself to be vulnerable. Here comes that word again. And so here comes iron sharpens iron. These men pouring into other men, attendees pouring into each other, creating a safe space where we could talk about all of these things that may not be safe to talk about, even in your homes, and for some men, even their own spouses. That's what iron sharpens iron is about.
For the grandma that's watching right now, for the wife that's watching, for the mom that's watching, the girlfriend that's watching, or even the man that's watching right now, that's like, I like what I'm hearing, Shay. And we don't do it at the end, but I'm sensing that someone out there might need some help. And I'd be wondering, what's the website I could go to? I mean, I know there's a conference coming up and you have many of them going on, but they're like, Shay, I'm raising my hand. I want to send this to someone now, or I want to bring someone right now. What website can they go to learn more about a time to heal? Number one. And number two, why is this space you're creating a safe space for folks to express their feelings in? I mean, because, sometimes you go to these things, you be looking around and who's going to see and who's going to be video recording and putting stuff out on social media. And again, that might not be everybody. Maybe it's just sharing his own insecurities, okay? But I have that question. So two-part question. Where can they go? What's the website? Where can they go so they can learn about how they can heal, the time to heal? And then number two, how have you created a safe space where people can feel vulnerable and comfortable? Because, it's, for me, it'd be very important.
Yeah. And I'm happy that you asked that. First and foremost, the website is www.teachmehowtoheal.com. That's the website, www.teachmehowtoheal.com. And one of the first things that a visitor will see is the flyer for the Iron Sharpens Iron Teach Me How to Heal Men's Edition. Once you click on that, it will take you right to the portal to secure your ticket. And for all those who are listening, we are offering a discount code for listeners of the number one business late night show, and that is the acronym for Healed Now. So it's HLDNOW25. That's capital, all caps, capital H for healed, capital L, capital D, capital N, capital O, and capital W, followed by 25. Healed Now 25 gets you $50 off of the registration. So run now to www.teachmehowtoheal.com. Why do we call this a safe space? In this work that I do, I often get to hear people's stories. And some of the stories are very painful stories, and they're stories of overcoming. And people have overcome tremendous adversity. And I love that. What grieves me often is how we just leave the listener intrigued by an amazing story, and we don't have a prescription for them to follow. Most of the time that happens because the storyteller doesn't have the expertise or the training to take it to that next step. Our speakers do. We have licensed professionals, we have coaches, we have professionals who are going to keep it real. I don't even know how else to say that. Going to keep it real, going to keep it raw. The space is for men only. Obviously, I'm a host, so I will be there. We will be having a mother who's going to be talking about the death of her son by suicide. Other than those individuals, the men will be in the space. So we have professionals who are going to be sharing stories and evidence based practices that really help men to get to their next level. No matter what level you are on, even if you consider yourself on a super high level, if there is emotional injury, that means that there is more for you to achieve. Then we have breakout sessions, Shay, because we're creating a space that our maximum is just 100 men. We're going to cap it at 100 men,
Okay.
because when we break out into those intimate circles, we want it to be intimate enough for men to then feel the safety to share their personal reactions to the things that are being taught on the main stage. And so we're being very careful. Like everyone that comes in is going to have to sign a confidentiality form that basically commits them to maintaining confidentiality with the stories that they hear. We're trying to be extremely discreet with photos and things of that nature. This is why we call it a safe space.
I love it, by the way. Spot on. And now, for those folks who are like, I like what this woman is saying, Shay. And no, I didn't read her bio yet because I'm listening to the podcast. Someone might be cooking right now and this is playing this in the background on their iPad, or maybe we're streaming on your big TV right now. Our big faces on your TV. That'd be kind of cool, by the way. That really would. So, Schellie, I know how famous you are. I know the world knows you are, but someone listening is meeting you for the very first time. So you take a minute or two and you know the question, who are you? And a little bit, what's your backstory? So we understand the person that's
Yeah.
behind Iron Sharpens Iron, a time to heal, a transformation for men.
Okay. Oh, I love that. Oh boy. Uh, Again, my name is Schellie Fanfan, and it actually is pronounced Schellie Fanfan. I am a first generation proud Haitian American woman. I was born in New York, raised in New York, moved to Florida as a teenager, I believe, and went to college here, University of Central Florida, transferred to Florida State University, go Knowles. And I did what I had to do to get the credentials that I had to get to allow the anointing to flow. And just so that makes sense for most of you, you can have an anointing, and it's important to also get the credentials that you need and the studies that you need to really elevate that anointing that is on your life. And so I am purposed to do this work. I have been purposed to work with individuals to encourage and to empower and to educate them to a place where they can overcome those emotional injuries and really live in their smiles. And that's my mantra. When people ask me what I do, I say I teach people to live in their smiles. So I help individuals with overcoming emotional injury. I work with couples and helping them to overcome their intimacy issues and intimacy challenges. And I get to work with corporations and helping them to overcome their leadership issues, specifically conflict management issues. So in that vein, I'm a conflict management expert and strategist, and I travel the United States helping corporations reach their next level. We call it peak psychological performance. How do you get your teams to operate at peak psychological performance? I have a practice here in Florida, and I travel the United States of America and beyond, motivationally and transformationally speaking, teaching the secret sauce to authentically living in your smile. And that is what I do.
Spot on. And we'll get into a moment a question that's on my mind, which is, why should someone take time away from their family to attend this particular conference, right? Because folks got busy lives. So some folks are going to take a day away from their family to attend. I'm just curious, what's one of the reasons you suggest they do that? But before we do that, can you just address the elephant in the room, since you brought it up, which is, I'll just say in my little circle, not my race, but my little circle, and I grew up Pentecostal, preacher's child, as many of you know, we would just go to church and they would just pray and everything goes away. And she talked about getting help outside of that church. And so there's a stigma, not for everybody. I'm just saying in my little circle. So I would like Schellie maybe just to give her view of the world of getting help outside of, the church. I'll call it like that, or maybe the pastor or the minister that has this conversation with you, but you still need professional help on the outside. So Shay, what's the question? What's one of the reasons why you recommend that folks get this type of outside help versus just doing it inside their church? If that makes sense.
Of course. So I am an ordained minister in addition to doing this work. And one of the things that I always teach is the importance of doing the work um, that is needed in order for us to be functional in what we were created to do. We are the only ones that can give ourselves the opportunity to truly maximize our functionality to be powerful in our purposes. Now, do I believe that individuals can get healed within the four walls of the church, or we can get healed by faith? Can God heal us? I believe that miracles, signs, and wonders are real. I do believe that the blood still works. And I know that God fully resources us to do what He has called us to do. And many times, those resources are other people. In this particular case, it's other professionals. I love the work that shepherds do and the work that pastors do. And I also recognize that many pastors do not have the training to help a person who has been raped, to help her to connect with her husband sexually. There are many pastors that may not be able to do that. Can a pastor pray? Absolutely. Can a pastor help this person understand the word and how to apply this word? Absolutely. I'm sure the pastor can do great work in the spirit. And we still have this natural body that shuts down when her husband is trying to lay with her. And so there are ailments that require professional help. Can you get that professional help at church? Possibly, and sometimes not. Sometimes the help that we need is going to come from someone who's not familiar, doesn't look like us, doesn't talk like us, and don't pray like us, and may not even believe what you believe. And God will allow that conduit to be exactly what you need for your healing. And that is okay. That is okay. And so it is important for us to operate in wisdom. God gives us that. And in fully resourcing us to do the work, He has given us these experts that are credentialed, that are trained, that are anointed to help you. And so every opportunity that we have for abundance and prosperity and for breakthrough, it can only happen within the context of something that's really, really, really uncomfortable. Discomfort is required for your growth and your breakthrough. So it is time for us to stop looking for those comfortable ways to break through. It doesn't happen that way. And so, again, is it okay to operate in faith and believe that God is going to heal you? Absolutely. And while you push in faith and you stand in obedience and you do the work, because faith without works is dead, that while you are operating in faith, that you seek out the professional help that you need to overcome and move forward despite your emotional injury.
I love it, man. I love it. I can feel the passion. We can feel it coming through the power of these fiber optic lines, by the way. So thank you for believing. Thank you for helping men heal men and women heal women. Take a moment, if you would, and tell us the website the folks should go to, again, for those folks that want to grab a ticket now or stay connected to you. There's a website they can go to. And then for the persons that's on the fence, should I take off my weekend to go? Should I not? I'm all in, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm going to fly from Washington, D.C., and I'll be
I
on the
can't
front row.
wait.
Now, there'll be no cameras. You will not see Shay Brown in there, okay? I will be there, okay? But she said it's a very private space, okay? Very private space, and we can be in a safe space as well. So take a moment. Number one, the website, a place they should go. And then, what's one of the reasons someone should take their weekend and be a part of Iron Sharpens Iron, a transformation for men? I don't know if women can come or not. You got to answer that one. I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, the website is www.teachmehowtoheal.com. Just like that. www.teachmehowtoheal.com. If by any chance you forget the discount code, you can message us right there on the website, www.teachmehowtoheal.com. It is a men's only conference, so only men are welcomed and invited to register.
Yay. All right. Honey, you got to stay home. I
Women,
don't know if you heard her. You got to stay home. Go
women,
to the pool or something.
I have women retreats. We have women's conferences. Just follow us on www.teachmehowtoheal.com. Your turn is coming. I actually had an amazing retreat for women in January of 2024, but this one is for the men. For those of you who are on the fence and you are absolutely not exactly sure if you want to do this, why not? Why not? What do you have to lose? Sometimes we get busy. I get that. I think if you Google the word busy, there's about 20 headshots that come up and they all look like this face. I totally get it. I also understand that sometimes life will happen, lifes, and then we end up having to pivot. Whether it's, oh my gosh, I have chest pains, I'm in the hospital. Oh my gosh, I was on my way to such and such, my alternator went out. And we allow like calamity, right? We allow calamity and obstacles and unforeseen circumstances to dictate how we move. We have a responsibility to be CEOs of our lives. This is an opportunity for personal development. You may not feel like you have anything to heal from. That's fine. You still have the responsibility to personally develop. It's not just about being better than who you were yesterday. Because if who you were yesterday is far below your capacity, then that being your yardstick or your goal is just not effective. We have the personal responsibility to elevate, to personally develop, and this is a personal development opportunity. This helps you to change the way that you think. That way, it changes the way that you feel because thoughts influence the way that we feel, and feelings influence the way that we choose. And if we are still choosing the way we did last year, 2 years ago, if you're still thinking the same from the winter of or the fall of last year, that's an issue. We should be constantly growing, constantly developing, constantly becoming more aware of ourselves. There's 89% of adults in the United States that consider themselves self-aware. But when they go through a series of testing, we find that 89% that finds themselves self-aware, that only 12% are. That's a problem. We don't even know ourselves. And so why not come and open yourself up to the opportunity to connect with like-minded men who want to be the best versions of themselves? Why not give yourself the opportunity to become a platinum version of yourself? And that's what Iron Sharpens Iron endeavors to do.
I love it. Let me say first, thank you so much. I know you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. And you're giving us the most precious resource you have, which is your time. So thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. Can't wait to see you at now y'all got to go to the website, by the way, to know where we're going to be. It's a secret location until you get to the website, okay? But no, it's going to be somewhere warm. So, you figure that out. And it's somewhere here in the States. But I can't wait to see you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shay, for having me.
And thank you for tuning in, by the way. As I said before, without you, well, there is no show. So we appreciate you allowing us to stream and be a part of your family right now, and I'll be a part of your day. We really appreciate that. And I never get tired of reminding you every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, no matter what's going on in your life, whether you've been hit with the punch that you never saw coming, or you're getting to that next level of success, you're pushing. I believe that today is your January 1st. You get a fresh start, you get a do-over, and because of just that one reason alone, I believe your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. With that being said, my name is Shay Brown. It hasn't changed. Still the Happy Entrepreneur. We out here. So long, Schellie. Peace, everybody. Bye-bye.